Day 25, we made it. I don't have the small people here today, just you and me. I fixed my sound from yesterday. Had it a little hot, was blowing the levels out. That was not fun to listen to. Sorry about that. Even an old pro can mess up from time to time. We are here to fix your financial life.
This is for the people.
All right, y'all. We got 5 days left of this thing. And we're going to have something for you when it's all said and done, too. Don't you worry. I'm not going to leave you hanging. In the most difficult time in our country's finances in over 100 years. So what we do every day on this show is we help you focus on what you need to focus on in your financial life, which is not the market, even though it is investing week this week here on the show, your own personal economy. We'll try to guide you through whatever you need to know. Thanks for joining us as always. We got people already joining us and saying hello. Hello. Good day, Doug. Good day. If you listen to the Pete the Planner radio show / podcast, I don't know why I did that hand motion, / podcast, you know we greet each other with good day. It's classy. You need classiness. I'm Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, CEO of Hey Money in Your Money Line. We fix money situations. So you can always get our help. Oh, I have things to talk about first. No Easter episode this Sunday. We're not doing an Easter episode this Sunday. It does not make sense to do. I will be eating Reese's peanut butter eggs, placing them in my face. This is the goal of our program, is to help you save $500 a month in spending. It's going to be very important. We just got news today that now over 16 million Americans are without jobs. Oh, we got lots of good days. Good day to you, Lori. Damian Dunn joins us. Good day to him. And Mark says he is close to 50, so I'm glad he's here too. I'm all over the place today, guys. I'm going to be honest. Can I let you in on something? I could not sleep last night. It happens. You've been experiencing this too. Things are going fine. Just like little bouts of anxiety hits you. You get scared. I woke up at 4, started working. So this is my, ninth hour of work today, and I got some still to go, so stick with me. We also going to try to press reset on your financial life. Okay, that's what we want to do. If you've ever felt like your financial life was put upon you, that you did not choose it, but it somehow chose you, well, let's kick it to the curb and press reset. Okay. Finally, we got to stop guessing. So many of the problems, especially the one we're talking about today, come from guessing. Don't guess. No. Okay, here's what we're tackling today. After I forgot how this whole thing works. Go to callheymoney.com. My team will help you, including my man Damian, who's jumped in here on the comments as always. Damian Dunn, my co-host for the Pete the Planner Show, and also is the vice president of advice for Hey Money in Your Money Line. No relation, oddly enough. Really. Same last name, no relation. You can use the coupon code CHEESE and get 10% off, which makes it $17.99 a month to get access to CFPs, who are certified financial planners, and AFCs. And I'll tell you this topic today, day 25, if you've joined us right now because this is you, go to callheymoney.com and let one of my people walk you through this. I'm not kidding. They are the best in these situations. Here's the scenario. Life's happening. Before you know it, you're about 50 or over 50. You're somewhere in the 50 range. And your financial life has not gone the way you thought it would go. What you realize is that your financial life has gotten harder as you've gotten older. That it didn't just get easier because you got older, which is a big assumption that a lot of people make. People just assume, well, I've been dealing with money for a while, so it'll get easier. It doesn't. It doesn't. And ages 47 to 53 are especially difficult financial years because of all the obligations we have in our lives, from raising children, having them go to college, taking on Parent Plus loans on their behalf, which is generally a bad idea for college. They move back in with you. They boomerang back into the house. Your parents are aging. Your parents' finances are changing. You're aging and the health impact of that. You're closer to the end of your career than the beginning. I mean, it's just overwhelming. I'm sorry. I probably just stressed you out. So if you find yourself right now, especially in one of the most stressful times in our country's history, if you find yourself just not living the financial life that you think is going to work in retirement, this is what we're talking about today. If you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, you're watching this, let's just think of it this way. these are techniques that can help you if you ever find yourself in this situation. As you will quickly find out, this is a situation you do not want to be in. There are some fixes. This is a situation that is much easier to deal with if you avoid it. Are you ready to get started? All right, here's what we're talking about specifically. 3 concepts of how to retire successfully when you're 50 and you have no money. We're going to talk about later and now, not now and later, but later and now. We're going to talk about how to bridge the gap between later and now by getting there. And then finally, the wild card to it all, housing. Housing. All right. Think about what is going on in your financial life right now if you have no assets. Okay, so there's income. Income is what you earn at a job, you have income. And then there's assets, is what you've saved or what you've set aside. What we need to do, in a very simple, concept here, is to have you successfully retire, we have to replace the income you're currently living on in some capacity with some other source of income in retirement. That's the job. That's the job. We know that later you'll have some projected source of retirement income. Like right now, we're going to calculate it. I can help you figure out, our team at callheymoney.com can help you figure out how much money, as of right now, if you don't make any changes, how much money will be available to you at retirement age, which for right now we're going to call age 67. If you're broke and 50, I think you need to go ahead and get your head around this idea that you got 17 years to pull this off. At least. Right? If you're thinking, well, I'm broke and 50, I'm definitely still going to retire at 62. We'll see. Probably wouldn't. Probably shouldn't. 67 is more realistic. I'll tell you why in here in just a few minutes. But we're going to project what is available to you at 67. Then we're going to take a look in just a moment of what is available to you now. And then our job is to attack the problem from both sides. Not only by growing your assets so that more money will be there when you're 67, but here's the important part. Listen up. The way you achieve this when you're 50 and broke is to not need money. This sounds crazy and it doesn't sound helpful. But most people just assume they're going to be able to retire because somehow they'll have a lot of money. Let me tell you, having done this now for 20 years, that's not how it works. Very few people are able to retire because they've accumulated a lot of money. Most people, and more frequently, are able to retire because they don't need a lot of money. Sounds like semantics, but it's a really important difference. If you have a really expensive lifestyle, then you're going to need a lot of money to maintain that lifestyle. If you have a modest lifestyle, you don't need a lot of money to contain and maintain that lifestyle. Here's a weird part about all of this. I find there is a certain income level that if you make more than, I'm going to say, $60,000 through your 50s and 60s, it is almost harder to retire than someone who makes $10,000 less than that. Okay, so let's say you make $60,000 and you're 50 years old, and that's about what you're going to make with little raises here and there until you're 67. I think it's harder for you to retire than a person that makes $45,000 to $50,000. Why? Well, primarily because your lifestyle is high enough over what Social Security you will receive in retirement that you're going to have to make up for the difference in income need with your assets. Let's take a look. Okay. So these are the 3 typical ways that people find income in retirement. Social Security. And look, man, what a weird time to talk about Social Security. I have to be honest with you, just thinking about this out loud, I have not really thought a lot about Social Security in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've had other dragons to slay. But what's going on with the federal debt and federal spending and the stimulus packages and all this, who knows what Social Security is going to look like? I haven't even thought about it. It scares you a little bit, but it's like, we got to deal with the problem in front of us. But Social Security could have a reckoning, right? I'm 42. Prior to the last 4 weeks, I didn't feel super great about Social Security being around in its current form for me when I'm 70. I feel a heck of a lot less confident of that now. So if you're 50 right now, I think Social Security will be around maybe in some capacity for you, but that's for you to determine. If it isn't, this problem becomes much worse. If it is, which arguably it could be, then this is an achievable situation, because a large majority of your retirement income, if you're 50 and broke, will come from Social Security and Social Security alone. Next would be if you happen to have a pension. For instance, let's say that you were in the military or federal government employee, or maybe you worked for a private organization that has a pension, then that's around for you. But again, if we're being honest here, what's going on right now in our economy could sincerely and severely impact the stability of your pension. I think that's what's so tough about this. Now, the market's gotten beaten up, but it's coming back. But you just wonder, when there was an inverted yield curve, which means T-bills were essentially paying negative rates of return because of the level of safety that they provide. Long explanation. I'm not going to give it to you, though. That means that endowments and pension plans that account on fixed rate of returns, low risk fixed rate of returns, we're getting less than they accounted for, which really severely impacts their ability to exist. Which means then, so the first two things on there are Social Security, which is now in question a little bit, pensions, which may be in question, and then your own investments. Well, if you're on this event with us here today, you're on here because you said you're broke. So our hope and what we're trying to do next is we're trying to say, okay, let's project what Social Security has in store for me. In this instance, if you go to ssa.gov, the Social Security Administration website, you can look up, based on your real situation, how much will be available for you at age 67. You can look up at a few different ages, but I recommend 67 at the least and 70 more likely. You can see what's available to you. If you have zero pension, you can put that. And then let's say you project that your retirement assets will create $600 a month of income. Well, how would you know that? Well, calculators, you can go to callheymoney.com, talk to one of our people. They'll help you calculate what would be available for you as of right now. So then your goal becomes to say, okay, well, sorry, I'm going to flip around a little bit. You have, in this scenario right now, what we know, this is a hypothetical, you would have $3,100 a month available to you later at retirement. Okay, so this is a hypothetical situation. This is not you. This is a guy named Gary. What's it matter? He has a mustache. He's very handsome. Drives a Corvette. $3,100 a month is what we project to be available. Now, under this hypothetical, Gary, the mustache guy, has $5,500 of income right now, and his expenses are $4,800 a month. So what we know is he has a $1,700 a month shortage between what he needs now and what is available later. Yet, the good news is he does make $5,500, which is to say he makes $700 more a month than he spends, which is a good start to begin to solve the problem. When you are broke and 50, you are typically in that situation for a reason, whether it's your fault or not. Circumstance, sometimes a relationship transition or two or three led to that. Periods of unemployment led to that. And so what you do is you bury your head and you don't really look at the numbers. And then when you finally decide to look at the numbers, it can be too late, which is why, hopefully, if you're attending our time together here today as a wake-up call, let's run the numbers. Let's take a look, because the longer you don't know the details, the worse this is for you. If you assume that it's going to be okay, you are absolutely wrong. It won't be. But if you're close to 50 and you're broke, and you look at the numbers today, you can put together a sustainable plan to close the gap from this hypothetical $3,100 a month of income that you'll have and the $4,800 a month you'll need. And how do you do that? How do you get there? Two ways. A, You cut your spending now. There's never been a better time, really, to cut your spending than right now. One of the worst economies ever. Now is the time to cut your spending. And in so doing, what are you going to do with the money you're earning but are no longer spending? So you've created more discretionary income. What are you going to do with that added gap? Because in this example, right now we're saying you make $5,500, you only need $4,800. So in this example, we're saying you already have $700 a month that you're doing something hopefully smart with. But what if we shave that $4,800 down to $4,000? Then you go from $5,500 to $4,000. That means you have $1,500 a month to do something with, $18,000 a year. What difference can that make? Okay. So number one, you've lowered the amount of money you need, because then you become dependent on $4,000 a month as opposed to $4,800 a month. So that's half the problem. You break your dependency on your income. Number two, what you do with that money is set it to the side, allow it to grow so it can compound, like we talked about yesterday, so it can create an income stream for you eventually. There's another secret to this too. I didn't put it in the graphics, but this is very important. And I'm going to use my hands to help you understand it. I don't know. I just shook my shoulders. That was weird. Okay. If this is your income in your 50s, okay, it's going up. Typically, people's incomes creep up in their 50s. And this is retirement. This is the wall or the cliff or a dead end or whatever. So your income's going up like this. If your lifestyle goes up like this too, that's a problem, because your retirement income is going to be down here. So you're going to be dependent on this level of income. And then when you retire, this amount of income will be available. So what you need to do, instead of riding your income up and letting your lifestyle creep alongside of it, is right now, not only are we cutting your expenses, we are promising not to increase your lifestyle. So that way you smooth out the curve heading into retirement. So this is on the trajectory that you're on and have been on. And then you're forced to try to live on this. What I'm saying today is you go like this, and it goes right on through. So therefore, yeah, maybe you'll have not a ton of money set aside for retirement, not a lot of money available in income, but you'll be used to that lifestyle. That's what people miss, is that if you get used to, and it's not cold turkey. Cold turkey is doing this and then trying to depend on that. This is smart. What you're doing is just saying, okay, look, I get it. I have to make a better decision about the lifestyle I'm living as it relates to the amount of money I need right now. Too often people get into their early 50s, mid 50s, their kids get out of college, and then they go through this second honeymoon period, which, you know, it's nice to fall in love with your lover again. And you just go pre-retirement now. You start, you know, oh, well, we have the money now. We're young. We want to go spend it. And it makes it impossible to have a sustainable retirement, because you're living your dream retirement when you're still working, yet burning up all this cash that really should be used to sustain retirement. See, one of the big fallacies of retirement is when people say, well, we're young, so we want to spend it now while we can do stuff. Cool. I get it. Neat. However, the problem is that works. Your plan, what you just said, works if you die in 10 years after you retire. If you're living for 30 years, then what happens when you're 88 years old and you have nothing, and there's no backup plan? What happens? I'm not trying to scare you. I've just seen this so many times that people are like, well, we're young, so we're going to do some fun stuff and spend 12% of our assets in the first year of retirement. You can't do that, because if you do, you're in trouble. So how do you get there? Well, I think you got to make really bold decisions. And one of them revolves around housing. Your biggest obligation right now is housing. Most people's. If you have a sustainable strategy to have your house paid off by the time you retire, boy, this just got a lot easier. Let's go to the numbers. Okay, so let's say right now your expenses are $4,800 a month. And like most people, $1,200 a month of that is your mortgage. Okay, so let's say that 1/4 of your expenses is your mortgage. If we said that as of now, $3,100 a month is going to be available at retirement, yet by knocking off $1,200 of expenses a month by paying off your mortgage, the gap has just gone from $3,100 available to $3,600 needed Get it? So the projection is still that you would have 3,100, and that's not even accounting what you are going to save in the future. That's to say you're going to have 3,100 available, but your lifestyle is then going to be dependent on 3,600. So that gap, which was once pretty wide of $1,700, has shrunk like this. You've attacked the problem from both sides, not only accumulating more money, but needing less money, and it meets in the middle. That's how you do this. The sustainable strategy if you're 50 and broke is to have a reasonable housing situation. Unfortunately, people get so stressed out about being 50 and broke that as things get a little bit easier heading into their late 50s, they'll make a crazy housing decision like a 30-year mortgage when they're 58 years old, which means that the most expensive expense, that was cute, most expensive expense in your life not only persists at the beginning of retirement, but through the whole retirement, which makes it nearly unworkable. Go to callheymoney.com. If you're in this situation, you need help. We will help you for $17.99 a month, which is absurd. Use offer code CHEESE. Because if you don't, you're going to be on government cheese. I'm sorry, that was gross. I don't know. I didn't know what I did. Go to callheymoney.com. We have fixed a ton of these. I've written a book about this. I don't want you to buy it. Save your money and go to callheymoney.com and let someone from my team help you. Guys, we got a few days left on this. It has been a weird day. Did not sleep much. Woke up to what is now 16 million unemployed Americans, at least. The market's had its biggest week since 1938 from a point perspective, yet I don't even know how to explain that to you. We still don't know what's going on with COVID-19, of whether it's really slowing or staying the same. It's like you get conflicting numbers. What's going to happen next? We are still 6 days away from people getting stimulus payments to deposit into their account. Most of the people who've applied for the Paycheck Protection Program, small businesses trying to keep people employed, have not heard back from their lending institutions as it relates to having their applications accepted or the funds approved. So it's interesting. I think by this time next week, which will be our last show, well, next Wednesday is our last show, we're going to know a lot more. This is one of those time frames where you literally know 10 times as much every 24 hours. Pretty wild. So tomorrow, couple more things we've got to hit when it comes to investment week. And then we're going to wrap this whole thing up next week. And of course, we are skipping Easter. So go to callheymoney.com. If you've missed any of our episodes, especially Investing Week, Investing Week's about knowing your information, right? Being aware. Go to callheymoney.com/blog and you can read synopses of all of these. You can watch the videos. And if you've missed the section of the program about cutting expenses, by God, do that too. Because if you're broken 50, that's what you're going to need to do going forward. My kids are outside my home office. I'm waving to them. No one cares. All right. I will see you mañana. That's Spanish for tomorrow. Buenas noches.